Chapter 15 of Howard's End. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Kristen McQuillan. Howard's End by Edward Morgan Forster. Chapter 15. The sisters went out to dinner full of their adventure, and when they were both full of the same subject, there were few dinner parties that could stand up against them. This particular one, which was all ladies, had more kick in it than most, but succumbed after a struggle. Helen at one part of the table, Margaret at the other, would talk of Mr. Bast and of no one else, and somewhere about the entree their monologues collided, fell ruining, and became common property. Nor was this all. The dinner party was really an informal discussion club. There was a paper after it, read amid coffee cups and laughter in the drawing-room, but dealing more or less thoughtfully with some topic of general interest. After the paper came a debate, and in this debate Mr. Bast also figured, appearing now as a bright spot in civilization, and now as a dark spot, according to the temperament of the speaker. The subject of the paper had been, "How ought I to dispose of my money?" The reader professing to be a millionaire on the point of death, inclined to bequeath her fortune for the foundation of local art galleries, but open to conviction from other sources. The various parts had been assigned beforehand, and some of the speeches were amusing. The hostess assumed the ungrateful role of the millionaire's eldest son, and implored her expiring parent not to dislocate society by allowing such vast sums to pass out of the family. Money was the fruit of self-denial, and the second generation had a right to profit by the self-denial of the first. What right had Mr. Bast to profit? The National Gallery was good enough for the likes of him. After property had had its say, a saying that is necessarily ungracious, the various philanthropists stepped forward. Something must be done for Mr. Bast. His conditions must be improved without impairing his independence. He must have a free library or free tennis courts. His rent must be paid in such a way that he did not know it was being paid. It must be made worth his while to join the territorials. He must be forcibly parted from his uninspiring wife, the money going to her as compensation. He must be assigned a twin star, some member of the leisured classes who would watch over him ceaselessly. Groans from Helen. He must be given food, but no clothes. Clothes, but no food. A third return ticket to Venice without either food or clothes when he arrived there. In short, he might be given anything and everything, so long as it was not the money itself. And here Margaret interrupted. "Order, order, Miss Schlegel," said the reader of the paper. "You are here, I understand, to advise me on the interests of the Society for the Preservation of Places of Historic Interest or Natural Beauty. I cannot have you speaking out of your role. It makes my poor head go round, and I think you forget that I am very ill." "Your head won't go round if you'll only listen to my argument," said Margaret. "Why not give him the money itself? You're supposed to have about 30,000 a year." "Have I? I thought I had 1,000,000. "Wasn't 1,000,000 your capital? Dear me, we ought to have settled that. Still, it doesn't matter. Whatever you've got, I order you to give as many poor men as you can 300 a year each." "But that would be pauperizing them," said an earnest girl, who liked the Schlegels, but thought them a little unspiritual at times. "Not if you give them so much. A big windfall would not pauperize a man. It's these little driblets distributed among too many that do the harm. Money's educational. It's far more educational than the things it buys." There was a protest. "In a sense," added Margaret, but the protest continued. "Well, isn't the most civilized thing going the man who's learnt to wear his income properly?" "Exactly what your Mr. Basts won't do." "Give them a chance. Give them money. Don't dole them out poetry books and railway tickets like babies. Give them the wherewithal to buy these things. When your socialism comes, it may be different, and we may think in terms of commodities instead of cash. Till it comes, give people cash, for it is the warp of civilization, whatever the woof may be. The imagination ought to play upon money, and realize it vividly, for it's the second most important thing in the world. It's so sloughed over and hushed up. There is so little clear thinking. Oh, political economy, of course, but so few of us think clearly about our own private incomes, and admit that independent thoughts are in 9 cases out of 10 the result of independent means. Money. Give Mr. Bast money, and don't bother about his ideals. He'll pick those up for himself." She leant back, while the more earnest members of the club began to misconstrue her. The female mind, though cruelly practical in daily life, cannot bear to hear ideals belittled in conversation, and Miss Schlegel was asked how ever could she say such dreadful things, and what would it profit Mr. Bast if he gained the whole world and lost his own soul? She answered, nothing, but he would not gain his soul until he had gained a little of the world. Then they said, no, they did not believe it, and she admitted that an overworked clerk may save his soul in the superterrestrial sense, where the effort will be taken for the deed. But she denied that he will ever explore the spiritual resources of this world, will ever know the rarer joys of the body, or attain to clear and passionate intercourse with his fellows. Others had attacked the fabric of society, property, interest, etc. She only fixed her eyes on a few human beings, to see how under present conditions they could be made happier. Doing good to humanity was useless, the many-coloured efforts thereto spreading over the vast area like films, and resulting in a universal grey. To do good to one, or as in this case to a few, was the utmost she dare hope for. Between the idealists and the political economists, Margaret had a bad time. Disagreeing elsewhere, they agreed in disowning her, and in keeping the administration of the millionaire's money in their own hands. The earnest girl brought forward a scheme of personal supervision and mutual help, the effect of which was to alter poor people until they became exactly like people who were not so poor. The hostess pertinently remarked that she, as eldest son, might surely rank among the millionaire's legatees. Margaret weakly admitted the claim, and another claim was at once set up by Helen, who declared that she had been the millionaire's housemaid for over 40 years. Overfed and underpaid, was nothing to be done for her, so corpulent and poor? The millionaire then read out her last will and testament, in which she left the whole of her fortune to the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Then she died. The serious parts of the discussion had been of higher merit than the playful. In a men's debate is the reverse more general? But the meeting broke up hilariously enough, and a dozen happy ladies dispersed to their homes. Helen and Margaret walked the earnest girl as far as Battersea Bridge Station, arguing copiously all the way. When she had gone, they were conscious of an alleviation, and of the great beauty of the evening. They turned back towards Oakley Street. The lamps and the plane trees, following the line of the embankment, struck a note of dignity that's rare in English cities. The seats, almost deserted, were here and there occupied by gentlefolk in evening dress, who'd strolled out from the houses behind to enjoy fresh air and the whisper of the rising tide. There's something continental about Chelsea Embankment. It's an open space used rightly, a blessing more frequent in Germany than here. As Margaret and Helen sat down, the city behind them seemed to be a vast theatre, an opera house in which some endless trilogy was performing, and they themselves a pair of satisfied subscribers who did not mind losing a little of the second act. Cold? No. Tired? Doesn't matter. The earnest girl's train rumbled away over the bridge. I say, Helen. Well? Are we really going to follow up Mr. Bast? I don't know. I think we won't. As you like. It's no good, I think, unless you really mean to know people. The discussion brought that home to me. We got on well enough with him in a spirit of excitement. But think of rational intercourse. We mustn't play at friendship. No, it's no good. There's Mrs. Lanolin, too. Helen yawned. So dull. Just so, and possibly worse than dull. I should like to know how he got hold of your card. But he said something about a concert and an umbrella. Then did the card see the wife? Helen, come to bed. No, just a little longer. It's so beautiful. Tell me. Oh, yes. Did you say